There is one question that challenges minds, stirs debate, and lingers in the hearts of many. If God created us, then who created God? At first glance, it seems logical, perhaps even unanswerable. But behind this question lies one of the greatest misunderstandings of all time. In this video, we will go beyond surface-level thinking to uncover a truth that is deeper than science, greater than philosophy, and fully revealed in Scripture. We will explore why this question breaks down when applied to an eternal creator, and how understanding God's uncreated nature changes everything. If you're seeking clarity, truth, and a foundation that holds firm in a world of questions, you're in the right place. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more biblical insights, share it with someone who's searching, and comment below with your thoughts. We're building a community of truth seekers, and your voice matters. Let us now begin the journey into the mystery of the one who was never created, yet created all things. From the earliest stirrings of human wonder, one question has persisted like an echo through the centuries. If God created us, then who created God? It is a question born from our natural experience with beginnings. Every tree has a seed, every building has a builder, every child has a parent. Cause and effect shape everything we know. At first glance, the question appears thoughtful, even profound. But beneath its surface lies a critical misunderstanding. It applies the rules of created things to the Creator himself. This question assumes that God is part of the created order, that he came into existence at some point in time, like the universe or like us. It confines him to the laws of time, space, and matter, as though he were just a more powerful version of the things he made. But such a view is fundamentally flawed. The God revealed in Scripture is not within creation, he is outside of it. He is not a product of the cosmos, but its source. Not a being who became, but the being through whom all else became. The Bible presents God not as a participant in the flow of time and history, but as its originator, the one who exists before the beginning, who speaks reality into being by his will alone. He is the author, not a character within the story. He is the first cause, the necessary being, who depends on nothing, yet upon whom all things depend. To ask, who created God, is to misunderstand what God truly means. If something created him, then he would not be eternal, not absolute, not God at all, but merely another contingent being in a chain of created things. The question is not foolish, but it is misdirected. It stems from the assumption that everything must have a beginning, an assumption that does not apply to the one who has no beginning. Only the uncreated can create. Only the eternal can give rise to time. Only God, who is outside the bounds of space, time, and cause, can be the source of all that exists. The question of God's origin does not belong to theology alone. It has long echoed through the halls of philosophy. At the heart of this inquiry lies one of the most enduring and foundational truths in all of reason, the law of causality. Everything that begins to exist must have a cause. This is not merely a religious idea, it is the bedrock of rational thought. We observe it everywhere. A tree comes from a seed, a flame from a spark, a building from a builder. These are not mysteries, they are logical necessities. And so when we look at the universe, with its time, energy, matter, and complexity, we apply the same principle. If the universe began to exist, it must have a cause beyond itself. But here's the key, this law only applies to things that begin. It does not apply to what is eternal. God by definition is uncreated and eternal. He did not come into existence. He did not emerge from a prior state. He was not made, formed, or constructed. He has always been. No cause can be assigned to him because he never began. In contrast, the universe is contingent. It shows every sign of having a beginning, and thus cannot be the foundation of its own existence. It cannot explain itself. It cannot be eternal in the way God is, because an actual infinite chain of causes stretching backward forever is logically impossible. It would mean no cause ever arrived to trigger the present moment. The chain must stop somewhere, and wherever it stops, it must stop in a being that is self-existent, independent, and uncaused. Philosophy calls this the necessary being, a being who must exist in order for anything else to exist. The Bible simply calls him God. He is the reason the universe exists, yet he himself has no reason beyond himself. He is not just the first in a series, He is the foundation of all existence. To ask who created God is to ignore this distinction. The question misapplies a rule that governs created things to the uncreated creator, and in doing so, it collapses under its own weight. Reason demands a starting point, and that starting point must be something that never started. That starting point is God. Modern science, often seen as separate from theology, surprisingly affirms one of the most foundational truths of Scripture: the universe had a beginning. According to the prevailing cosmological model known as the Big Bang Theory, the entire universe, including time, space, energy, and matter, came into existence in a single explosive moment. It did not unfold gradually from eternal materials. It burst forth from what appears to be absolute nothingness. Before that moment, there was no space, no time, no physical reality, only silence beyond comprehension. This profound discovery aligns perfectly with the very first words of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Science confirms what Scripture declared millennia ago: the cosmos is not eternal. It had an origin, and therefore it demands an originator. But that originator cannot be part of the universe, bound by the very laws he is meant to explain. The cause of the universe must be outside the system he created. Thus, this cause must be timeless, for it created time itself; spaceless, for it brought space into existence; immaterial, since matter did not yet exist; supremely powerful, to bring all things into being from nothing; personal, for only a conscious agent can choose to create a universe at a specific moment. These are not theological exaggerations. They are logical implications based on scientific observation, and they describe with astonishing precision the nature of the God revealed in Scripture. Science tells us that the universe began. Scripture tells us who began it. And reason confirms that only a being uncreated and eternal could stand behind such a beginning. So when we ask, if God created us, then who created God? Science quietly responds with its own paradox: everything began, except the one who began it all. Unlike everything we see and touch, God did not begin. He did not come into being, emerge from some pre-existing state, or pass through the birth pangs of time. He did not evolve from lesser elements, nor was he shaped by cosmic forces. He simply always was. The universe, with its stars and galaxies, its energy and laws, had a starting point. It is subject to the flow of time, the pull of gravity, and the decay of matter. But God is subject to none of these. He is not part of the created order. He is outside it, eternal, unbound and unchanging. The Scriptures proclaim this truth with unmatched clarity. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God. Psalm chapter 90, verse 2. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Revelation chapter 22, verse 13. God's eternality is not just about having existed for a long time. It is about being beyond time itself. He does not dwell within past, present, and future. These are categories for creation, not the creator. Time flows because he ordained it. Space expands because he allows it. To be eternal means to be self-existent, dependent on nothing and no one. God does not grow, he does not fade, he does not wait. He is forever complete, forever constant. This is why, when Moses asked for God's name, the answer was not tethered to any era or identity. It was simple, eternal, and absolute. I am who I am. Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. He is not I was or I will be, but I am. This name reveals his essence, the one who is, without origin, without end, without change. So when we ask, who created God? We must remember, such a question cannot apply to the one who never began. God's eternal nature is the very reason he can be the creator of all things. Only the one who stands beyond the boundaries of time can be the one who began it. He is not just everlasting in duration, but eternal in being. Before time began, he is. When time ends, he remains. This is the God who created us, and who himself was never created. From Genesis to Revelation, Scripture never portrays God as a being who had a beginning. There is no moment where he comes into being, no passage where he is made. Instead, he is consistently described as the one who was, is, and always will be, the eternal source from whom all things flow. The Bible speaks of God not as part of the created order, but as the foundation of existence itself. Every created thing, visible and invisible, rests upon his power. He is not in the timeline of creation, he is the one who authored it. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Colossians chapter 1 verse 17. This verse reveals more than chronology. It proclaims that nothing exists apart from God's sustaining will. Creation depends on him. He depends on nothing. With the Lord a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8. Time itself bends in the presence of God. He is not constrained by hours or centuries. This verse speaks not just of patience, but of God's timeless perspective. He is above the stream of time, looking upon all of history at once. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 27. Here, Scripture presents God not just as eternal in theory, but as personally and powerfully present. A refuge whose everlasting strength upholds his people across every generation. Importantly, the Bible does not argue for God's existence as if it needed defending. It declares him. In the beginning, God, Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. The opening words of Scripture do not describe God's origin. They assume his presence as the necessary starting point of all things. He is not the product of creation, he is the precondition for it. So when we ask if God created us, then who created God? The biblical answer is clear. God is uncreated. He is not the effect of a cause, but the cause without an effect, the eternal, unchanging, self-existent one. Skepticism, when sincere, is not an obstacle to faith. It is often the first step toward truth. Honest questions are the beginning of deep understanding, but not all questions are framed with clarity. One such question, who created God? Though common, reveals more about the limits of human thinking than about the nature of God himself. We live in a world defined by beginnings and endings. Every life starts, every object is built, every moment is born from the one before it. So it seems natural, even logical, to assume that everything must have a cause. But this assumption, while valid within creation, breaks down when applied to the Creator. To ask who created God is to confuse the created with the uncreated. It imposes the rules of time, change, and dependence onto the one who exists outside of them all. The very question presumes that God is part of the same system he made, when in fact he exists above it. Furthermore, demanding a cause for the Creator leads us into a philosophical dead end, a paradox of infinite regress. If every cause requires a prior cause, then nothing could ever begin. The universe would be suspended in an endless chain with no true origin. But reason demands a first cause, an unmoved mover, a necessary being who is himself uncaused. That uncaused being is God. He is not a convenient explanation to fill a gap in knowledge. He is the only sufficient explanation for why anything exists at all. Without him, there is no foundation, only circular reasoning or infinite delay. But with him, creation has a cause. History has a beginning, and life has meaning. The eternal God is not merely an idea from religion. He is the logical conclusion of reason, the anchor of scientific observation, and the clear revelation of Scripture. He is the one who made time but is not ruled by it, the one who created all but was created by none, the uncaused cause, the self-existent I am, the God who simply is. The question we began with, if God created us, then who created God, does not unravel the foundations of faith, it reveals them. God is not a being with a beginning, nor is he the product of a greater cause. He is the uncreated creator, eternal and self-existent, beyond the bounds of time, space, and matter. This truth is not only affirmed by Scripture, but echoed in philosophy, reason, and even the discoveries of modern science. In a world where everything has a starting point, only God stands without origin, the one through whom all things came to be, yet who himself was made by none. If this message has brought clarity, stirred your spirit, or deepened your understanding, you are invited to respond. Like this video to support the message, comment your thoughts to join the conversation, Subscribe for more content that explores the mysteries of Scripture and creation, and share this video with others who are searching for answers. Thank you for watching and for seeking truth in a world of questions. May the eternal God continue to lead you into light, wisdom, and unwavering faith.